Feel the clock ticking, but your dreams stay stuck on pause? You're here because something inside you whispers, maybe even screams, that you're wasting precious hours of the only life you'll ever get. Jung called that inner voice the Daemon, a restless guiding energy that won't let us settle for mediocrity. It knows when we numb ourselves with endless notifications, cheap dopamine, or someone else's highlight reel. It knows when our potential is begging to be born. Jung wrote, "The greatest tragedy of the family is the unlived lives of the parents." If you've inherited even a fraction of that tragedy, today is the day we break the chain. Look closely at an ordinary morning. You wake, grab your phone, tap through a carousel of curated bodies, curated breakfasts, curated ambitions. Micro hits of envy ignite, yet nothing moves. It's a phenomenon Jung foresaw long before smartphones, the collective persona, a mask society wears and pressures you to copy. When every feed screams who you should be, your authentic self retreats underground. The cost? Days blurred, purpose diluted. To stop wasting life, you must declare psychological independence from the persona. You must, as Jung insisted, withdraw your projections, pull your desires back from the screens, and summon them into flesh and blood action. That rebellion begins with radical awareness. Imagine standing in front of a great river, your stream of time. Each drop is a moment. Most people float downstream on the autopilot, hoping the current will deliver them somewhere meaningful. Jung, however, commands us to dive beneath the surface. Why? Because the unconscious, not the calendar, decides whether a day becomes a masterpiece or a wasteland. Dreams, slips of the tongue, sudden flares of inspiration, these are messages from deeper waters mapping the route to individuation, Jung's term for the lifelong journey toward wholeness. Ignore those messages and your life hollows into routine. Listen, and every hour can blaze with significance. But listening isn't passive. Start a shadow journal tonight. Write 3 pages of uncensored thoughts before sleep, desires, rants, bizarre images. The goal isn't pretty prose, it's exposure therapy for the parts of you you've exiled. Jung warned, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. By dragging the shadow onto paper, you reclaim the steering wheel. You'll notice the hidden motives behind procrastination, the true fears masquerading as laziness, the secret hungers dulling your passion. This practice alone can rescue years otherwise lost to self-sabotage. Next, confront the tyranny of shoulds. People waste life obeying scripts that aren't theirs. Study this, date that person, buy that house, stay silent to keep the peace. Jung compared the authentic self to an acorn. Everything the mighty oak will ever be is encoded within, yet it needs the right soil, sun, and storm to emerge. If an acorn tries to grow into a rose because then Instagram loves roses, it withers. Likewise, you must excavate your intrinsic pattern, your personal myth. Ask, when did I feel most alive as a child? Which challenges magnetize me? What injustice keeps me up at night? Write answers in vivid detail. Patterns will surface like constellations. That's your oak. Nourish it, and wasted time shrivels. Still, knowing your myth isn't enough. You must act, and act now. Procrastination disguises itself as logic. I'll start when I have more money. I need another degree, maybe next year. Jung demolished such excuses. You are not what happened to you. You are what you choose to become. Choice happens in real time. So set a 90-minute sacred block every dawn before the world invades. Use it exclusively for your myth. Writing pages, composing music, coding prototypes, training your body. No multitasking, no notifications. Neuroscience agrees. A focused morning session establishes dopamine momentum that propels you through the day. Do this for 66 days, and it hardwires into identity. Inevitably, resistance appears. Jung's archetype of the dragon guards every treasure. In modern terms, the dragon is comfort. Soft couches, autoplay, vague goals. Slay it with deliberate friction. Delete the most addictive app for 1 week. Replace evening binge watching with a 30-minute walk without earbuds. Tell a friend your weekly goal and dare them to charge you $50 for every deadline missed. Pain harnessed wisely becomes propulsion. As Viktor Frankl, influenced by Jung's ideas, said, "What is to give light must endure burning. Endure a small burn daily to avoid the inferno of regret later." Equally crucial is the inner circle. Jung believed individuation cannot occur in a vacuum. We need mirrors who reflect both our light and shadow. Audit your contacts. Who drains your energy with cynicism? Who ignites possibility? Research from Harvard's 85-year study of adult development confirms relationships shape longevity and fulfillment more than wealth or fame. Curate proximity. Schedule monthly mastermind dinners where each attendee shares one breakthrough and one struggle. Celebrate progress publicly. Accountability plus enthusiasm equals exponential growth. Starve distractions. Feed alliances. Now, let's dive deeper. The myth of unlimited time. Epictetus, echoed by Jung, warned, "We are not given a short life, but we make it short." Picture an average lifespan converted to weeks, about 4,000. A 30-year-old has already spent roughly 1,500 weeks. Visualize each week as a square on a giant wall calendar. Shade the squares already gone. The starkness slaps you awake. This memento mori is not morbid. It's liberating. Scarcity sharpens valuation. When you sense the finitude of weeks, social media rabbit holes lose allure, and existentially rich experiences, learning a language, healing family wounds, building a mission, rise in priority. Speaking of mission, Jung argued that meaning is antidote to despair. Many waste life chasing happiness, yet happiness is a byproduct of engagement, not a destination. Ask Holocaust survivor and Jung admirer Edith Eger. She writes, "There is no hierarchy of suffering, but there is a hierarchy of purpose. Purpose galvanizes mornings, transforms obstacles into quests. To locate yours, blend 3 elements: talent, what feels intuitive; service, who benefits; and curiosity, what you can't stop exploring. Where these overlap, plant your flag. Purpose then becomes a lens. Every opportunity is either on mission or off mission. Decisions accelerate, squandered afternoons dwindle. Let's address the elephant, fear of failure. People cling to comfort zones to avoid embarrassment, yet that caution extracts a brutal tax: future regret. Jung compared life to alchemy. The base metal of ego must endure fiery trials to transmute into gold. Trials mean experiments, and experiments sometimes flop. Rebrand failure as data. Edison tested 1,000 filaments before the light bulb. Without each waste, we'd sit in darkness. Your failed blog, awkward first speech, stalled side hustle, They're not wasted, but smelded ore, shaping your eventual masterpiece. Keep iterating, a word on play. Wasting life isn't only about idleness, it can also be about over-earnest hustle that stifles the soul. Jung valued play as the high road to the unconscious. Schedule weekly unstructured time, painting, improv, climbing trees if you like. In playful states, the brain's default mode network sparks novel connections, birthing insights impossible during rigid work. Leonardo da Vinci's notebooks overflowed with doodles that later informed engineering marvels. Guard your playtime as fiercely as deadlines. It's fertilizer for originality. Parallel to play is silence. The modern soundscape, podcasts, traffic, perpetual chatter, drowns inner guidance. Yet Jung frequently retreated to Bollingen Tower, his rustic sanctuary by Lake Zurich, to commune with stillness. Follow suit. Begin each day with 5 minutes of breath awareness. No affirmations, no mental to-do lists. Just watch thoughts drift like clouds. Research from Johns Hopkins shows that regular mindfulness rewires the amygdala, reducing anxiety and sharpening focus. Over months, you'll notice clear intuitions nudging you toward meaningful projects and away from time sinks. Now, consider the body. You cannot live a heroic story in a lethargic vessel. Jung described the psyche as by no means synonymous with the brain, yet inseparable from the flesh. Movement is metaphysics in motion. When you deadlift, sprint, or practice yoga, you integrate mind and soma, boosting BDNF, the Miracle-Gro protein for neurons. A 20-minute workout can elevate executive function for hours, turning complex tasks from uphill slog to creative flow. Treat fitness not as vanity, but as ritual, a daily vote for vitality over decay. Detox your environment next. Cluttered desk, aimless TV constantly murmuring, fridge stacked with sugar, they conspire to steal momentum. Jung would call this externalized shadow. Conduct a space audit. Remove one item that doesn't serve the vision every evening. Replace it with a trigger toward mastery. A stack of inspiring books, a guitar on a stand, a vision board of your 10-year dream. Over weeks, your habitat morphs into a silent coach, nudging you toward meaningful action even when willpower dips. Speaking of books, Jung devoured myth, religion, and science to cross-pollinate insights. He'd relish today's information abundance, but only if curated. Adopt a one input per goal principle. For a quarter, choose a single seminal text that aligns with your mission. Man's search for meaning, deep work, the artist's way. Read it deeply, take notes, discuss with peers. Depth beats breadth. Mastery beats trivia. Digital diets reflect this. Unfollow 80% of influencers who don't advance your myth. Your cognitive bandwidth is sacred. Guard it. Time to tackle comparison. The fastest way to waste life is measuring it against someone else's highlight reel. Jung said, "The shoe that fits one person pinches another." When envy strikes, transmute it. Write the trigger down. Who, what, why. Then list one small step to cultivate that quality authentically. Jealous of a friend's fluent Spanish? Book a 15-minute daily lesson. Envy is a map pointing to neglected potential. Follow the map. Envy evaporates into progress. Let's zoom out to a planetary view. Jung believed personal transformation echoes in the collective unconscious, affecting humanity's trajectory. When you rescue your own minutes from waste, you contribute creativity, compassion, and competence to the world. That ripple might inspire a sibling to pursue art, a colleague to launch a nonprofit, a stranger online to choose therapy over nihilism. Your disciplined life becomes a living archetype, the hero, guiding others through their labyrinth. Purpose multiplies, but momentum requires checkpoints. Each Sunday evening, conduct a life sprint review, open a journal and answer: 1. What mission-aligned actions did I complete? 2. Where did I drift? 3. Which fears surfaced? 4. What is the single highest leverage step for next week? Keep the ritual to 15 minutes. Over 52 weeks, you iterate 52 times. Compound evolution. As Jung asserted, we don't solve our problems, we outgrow them. Consistent reflection is the chrysalis of growth. Now, integrate spirituality, whatever that means for you. Jung saw individuation as inherently spiritual because it connects ego to self, the inner divinity. Practices like gratitude prayer, nature immersion, or chanting harmonize rational plans with transcendent purpose. Neuroscientist Andrew Newberg's research shows spiritual contemplation thickens the prefrontal cortex, enhancing focus and empathy, assets against wasted life. 10 minutes at sunrise, palms open, whisper thanks for breath and challenge. The day's chaos shrinks to size. By now, resistance might whisper, "This is overwhelming." Pause. Inhale. Remember, transformation happens one deliberate choice at a time. Take Bruce Lee's mantra, long-term consistency trumps short-term intensity. Choose one tactic from this video, perhaps the shadow journal, and commit for 7 days. Momentum will recruit allies, serotonin, self-trust, supportive peers. Small wins stack like bricks until a cathedral stands where apathy once sprawled. Before we close part 1, heed Jung's most piercing reminder. The most terrifying thing is to accept oneself completely. Many wastes life fleeing that terror, yet beyond it lies freedom. Freedom to create, to love, to risk, to rest. Accept your gifts and flaws alike, and the compulsion to escape into distractions dissolves. You start showing up raw, real, unstoppable. So let today be your day 1. Delete the app, schedule the sacred block, write the shadow, lift the iron, breathe the dawn. Each act is a declaration. I will not let life rot on the shelf of someday. Next episode, we'll dive into advanced techniques, dream work, active imagination, and crafting a legacy project that echoes beyond your lifespan. But none of that matters unless you take the first irreversible step now. Close your eyes. Picture yourself a year from now, vibrant, aligned, surrounded by allies, creating work that thunders with meaning. Hear that version of you whisper back across time, "Thank you for choosing courage when comfort tried to seduce you." That gratitude is real. It waits for you on the other side of action. Open your eyes. The clock keeps ticking. Grab your time and sculpt it into significance. We'll meet in part 2. Until then, remember Jung's rallying cry. What did you do as a child that made the hours pass like minutes? Here is the key to your earthly pursuits. Find it. Use it. Stop drifting. Start living. Take a deep breath. Feel the air swirl inside your chest. The same breath that fueled Da Vinci's sketches. The same oxygen that fed Carl Jung's own midnight journaling in Bollingen Tower. That lineage of creators is now your lineage. That breath is your baton. Part 2 is about converting inspiration into architecture, dreams into blueprints, spark into wildfire. If Part 1 yanked you out of drift, Part 2 straps rocket engines to your resolve and points them toward legacy. Jung called this phase confrontation with the unconscious. It's a wild frontier where symbols speak, coincidences shimmer, and the line between imagination and reality blurs just enough to let miracles slip through. Ready? Good. Let's build. Begin with dreams, nighttime telegrams from your unconscious. Most adults dismiss them as static. Jung revered them as guidance systems. Tonight, place a notebook beside your bed. Before sleep, whisper a question that matters. What step will accelerate my purpose? Or show me the fear I'm avoiding. When dawn cracks, record everything, images, moods, even fragments. Over weeks, patterns surface. Recurring landscapes, forgotten faces, odd animals. These are archetypal messengers. A dilapidated bridge might signal an outdated belief blocking progress. An eagle could embody a higher vantage you must claim. Decoding isn't guesswork, it's dialogue. Compare symbols to myths, personal history, and global stories. Treat each dream like a mentor disguised in riddles. Consistently tracked, they will nudge you toward decisions your daylight brain resists. Ending a stale job, proposing a daring collaboration, quitting a draining relationship. Trust grows. Wasted months shrink. When a symbol feels potent, take it into active imagination, Jung's technique for conversing with the psyche. Set a 20-minute timer, close your eyes, visualize the symbol, say, that bridge. Let your imagination animate it. Maybe planks creak, water roars beneath, a hooded guide appears. Resist scripting, observe and respond. Ask the guide, why are you here? Speak aloud, record answers later. The unconscious loves dramatization. Treat it like theater. Over sessions, revelations germinate. Emotional knots untangle. Next steps crystallize. Neuroscience shows that guided imagery activates the default mode network, enabling creative problem-solving unreachable by linear thought. Make active imagination a thrice-weekly ritual. You'll harvest insights that consultants charge fortunes to approximate. Now, anchor insights in matter through symbolic acts. Jung maintained that transformation demands ritual, gestures declaring to the unconscious, I'm serious. Suppose dream work reveals you're chained by perfectionism. Design a small ceremony, write a meticulous draft of a project idea on quality paper. Then, outside safely, burn it. As ashes swirl, vow to embrace version 1 imperfection and shipwork fast. The sensory drama imprints new neural pathways. The next time perfectionism whispers, polish more, the smell of smoke will remind you of your oath. Symbolic acts convert invisible resolve into visceral memory, ensuring tomorrow's behavior aligns with today's epiphany. Legacy requires a North Star project, a concrete endeavor big enough to demand your highest faculties, yet finite enough to finish this decade. Jung's was the Red Book, a 205-page illuminated manuscript mapping his inner journeys. What could yours be? A novel weaving your family's untold saga, a tech platform democratizing mental health tools, an eco-village proving sustainable living scales? Choose something that scares and excites you in equal measure. Write a one-page project constitution detailing purpose, audience, milestones, and metrics. place it where you work. This artifact anchors ambition when enthusiasm fluctuates. Psychologists call this implementation intention. It triples goal completion likelihood. Break the project into 12-week sprints. Each sprint ends with a tangible deliverable: chapter draft, prototype test, pilot retreat. The 12-week time frame compresses focus. Too short for procrastination, long enough for depth. Dedicate at least 5 golden hours weekly, no interruptions, phone on airplane mode. If life feels too hectic, examine priorities. Time is elastic when tethered to mission. As Jung said, your vision will become clear only when you look into your heart. Who looks outside dreams. Who looks inside awakes. Let that clarity override busyness. Mid-sprint, practice deliberate solitude. One afternoon, leave devices and hike, swim, or sit in a cathedral. Solitude isn't absence but presence. Presence with undercurrents unnoticed in crowds. A 2019 University of Buffalo study found intentional solitude correlates with higher autonomy and personal growth. During these retreats, ask bigger questions. Is my direction still aligned? What blind spots am I ignoring? Jot answers. Refine the next sprint. Solitude is not retreat from society, but recalibration for service. Speaking of service, integrate the wounded healer archetype. Jung argued that our deepest wounds often birth our greatest medicine for others. Identify your pivotal pain: bullying, poverty, exile, illness. Instead of shrinking from it, mine it for empathy, narrative power, niche expertise. Maybe you battled anxiety. Channel that battle into a course demystifying therapy for teens. Pain transmuted into purpose turns scars into signatures. Audiences feel authenticity. Doors open where formulaic marketing clanks shut. Yet carrying wounds demands boundaries. Enter shadow hygiene. Each evening, rate emotional charge on a scale of 1 to 10. Anything over 7, rage at a comet, jealousy of a peer, warrants processing before sleep. Methods: 5 rounds of box breathing, a voice note rant, somatic shaking to music. This prevents tomorrow's creativity from drowning in yesterday's residue. Think of it as psychic flossing, unpleasant if skipped. Advanced creativity thrives on cross-pollination. Jung fused alchemy, astrology, and comparative religion to birth analytical psychology. Likewise, schedule monthly field trips outside your domain, attend a jazz improv workshop if you're a coder, explore a planetarium if you're a poet. Diversity of input spawns originality. The Medici effect shows that intersectional teams generate more breakthrough ideas. Keep a mashup notebook capturing unlikely pairings: blockchain plus urban farming, animation plus public policy. Many will be wild. One could revolutionize your industry. Let's confront money, the silent saboteur of visionary work. Jung believed individuation ultimately harmonizes material and spiritual realms. You don't need monk-like asceticism. You need conscious cash flow. Adopt a purpose budget: 50% essentials, 20% project fund, 20% freedom fund, 10% compassion fund. Automate transfers on payday. Watching your project fund swell will motivate disciplined spending. Avoid golden handcuffs, careers that fund status but starve soul. If pivoting feels risky, initiate a bridge strategy. Freelance 2 evenings a week in your desired field until income equals 30% of your day job salary. Then leap. Calculated courage outperforms reckless escape. Now craft your public narrative. Humans rally behind stories, not statistics. Outline a 5-minute why I'm building this speech, origin wound, epiphany moment, future vision. Practice until it hums. Share it on social media, at meetups, in investor pitches. Authentic storytelling magnetizes allies and resources while repelling misaligned partnerships, saving years of detours. Allies spark collective momentum. Form a Jungian guild, 5 to 7 peers pursuing bold quests. Meet bi-weekly via video or in person. Format: each member shares a win, a struggle, and a 14-day commitment. Group accountability triples execution rates. Shared vocabulary accelerates problem solving. Rotate a symbol spotlight, where one member presents a dream symbol and group offers interpretations. This deepens psychological literacy while bonding the tribe. Guard group culture: zero gossip, radical candor, structured meetings. A healthy guild is a jetpack. A toxic one drags like ankle weights. Inevitably, you'll hit the midway slump when novelty fades and complexity spikes. Prepare by designing a slump survival protocol. Step 1. Revisit your dream symbols. Reignite wonder. Step 2. Read biographies of creators who endured similar lows. Maya Angelou's 7-year writer's block, Edison's filament failures. Their persistence normalizes your struggle. Step 3. Incorporate micro rewards. Ice baths, museum visits, gourmet coffee after each obstacle conquered. Dopamine celebrates progress, not completion. Feed it strategically. As your project evolves, practice synchronicity tracking. Jung coined synchronicity to describe meaningful coincidences that guide destiny. Keep a column in your journal. When odd alignments occur, a stranger recommends the exact book you need, a long-lost mentor emails, note time, context, emotional resonance. Over months, you'll see a breadcrumb trail. Synchronicities often confirm you're on the right path or redirect you before disaster. Skeptical? Treat it as data collection. Even rationalists benefit from heightened pattern recognition. Let's talk shadow success. Society glorifies hustle, but rarely prepares us for the psychological whiplash of actual achievement. Imposter syndrome, survivor's guilt, fear of visibility. Anticipate it. Develop a success integration plan. Schedule therapy or coaching sessions after major milestones. Celebrate with the guild. Reinforce identity statements. I earned this. My growth serves others. Remember Jung's insight. Every form of addiction is bad, no matter whether the narcotic be alcohol, morphine, or idealism. Chasing endless metrics can morph into addiction. Anchor success to values, not vanity. Now, pivot to embodied wisdom. Up-level your physiological rituals. Practice cold exposure thrice weekly, extend fasting windows, experiment with breath-hold walks. Why? They teach the nervous system resilience. Neuroscientist Andrew Huberman notes that controlled stress inoculation boosts dopamine and adrenaline baselines, enhancing motivation. When your body knows discomfort won't kill it, you fear bold moves less. Courage becomes cellular. Parallel to stress inoculation is radical recovery. Aim for 90 minutes of deep restorative activities daily, non-negotiable. Could be float tanks, slow cooking, reading poetry, tantric intimacy. Burnout is stealth waste. You're technically working, but producing ghost output while eroding health. Jung himself suffered a breakdown at 38. His recovery birthed his greatest contributions. Learn from him. Integrate rhythms of push and pause. Legacy demands intergenerational thinking. Imagine a child in 2075 discovering your work. What message will echo through time? Write a letter to that future mind. Describe the problem you attacked, the beauty you aim to amplify, the cost you paid in sleepless nights. Seal and store it. This exercise extends your time horizon. Decisions sharpen under the weight of posterity. Stanford's future self-continuity studies show people who feel connected to their future selves save more money, make healthier choices, and pursue purposeful goals. Adopt a 50-year lens. Petty distractions shrink while we're spanning centuries. Confront mortality head-on. Compose a living eulogy, how you want friends, family, and strangers to describe you at your funeral. Note themes: generosity, daring, wisdom, laughter. Cross-reference with your weekly actions. If misaligned, adjust now. Stoic philosopher Seneca urged, "While we postpone, life speeds by." A eulogy written in midlife acts as compass and fuel on fuel. Explore altered states ethically. Extended meditation, ecstatic dance, legally sanctioned psychedelics in clinical settings. Jung experimented cautiously with visualization and active imagination. Modern research at Johns Hopkins shows psilocybin-assisted therapy can unlock seismic perspective shifts. If you choose such paths, prioritize safety, medical screening, integration coaching, legal compliance. The goal isn't escapism, but accelerated insight. Afterwards, channel revelations into concrete sprint tasks. Otherwise, the glow evaporates and you're back to square one. Let's infuse artistic cross-training. Even if your project is tech, spend Sunday mornings painting abstracts or riffing on a guitar. Artistic play accesses right hemisphere intuition, enriching analytical work with soul. Steve Jobs audited calligraphy. It shaped Apple's typographic elegance. Jung carved wooden figures. It grounded his psyche. Creativity flows through variety. Guard it. Consider geo-archetypal pilgrimages. Certain places catalyze transformation. Camino de Santiago for seekers, Kyoto temples for minimalists, Silicon Valley for disruptors. Identify a location resonant with your project spirit. Plan a one-week pilgrimage during Sprint 4. Immerse in local culture. Interview elders. Capture sensory details. You'll return with charged metaphors and unexpected collaborators. On collaborators, master elevated networking. Skip cold LinkedIn blasts. Instead, curate value artifacts, concise research briefs, prototype demos, heartfelt thank you videos, and gift them to potential mentors. Reciprocity psychology ensures many respond. When they do, invite a 15-minute Zoom to solve one of their pain points. Over time, you'll assemble a constellation of senior allies eager to champion your mission. Wasted life often hides in mediocre networks. Upgrade yours strategically. Let's address digital echo chambers. Algorithms seduce us into opinion silos where novelty dies. Adopt a contrarian subscription. Follow one newsletter, podcast, or thinker who challenges your worldview. Engage with curiosity, not hostility. Cognitive diversity strengthens critical thinking, immunizing you against groupthink that can derail projects or, worse, lock you into irrelevant paths for years. As momentum builds, document everything. Maintain a creator's ledger, capturing sprint summaries, revenue spikes, fan letters, dream symbols, synchronicities. This ledger serves future you during droughts, reminding you progress is real. It also becomes source material for books, courses, or documentaries, multiplying impact without additional grind. Speaking of multiplication, structure scalable giving. Allocate 5% of project profits to causes aligned with your myth. Reforestation, mental health scholarships, refugee arts programs. Publicly share impact reports. This both fulfills Jung's principle of reciprocity with the collective and inoculates you against greed's creep. Psychologist Adam Grant's studies on giver cultures show they foster innovation and loyalty, fuel for long-term success. By now, you may feel a potent mix of excitement and terror. Excellent. That's the alchemical heat, forging gold. Write a personal manifesto of non-negotiables. I publish one valuable insight weekly. I refuse meetings without agendas. I honor sleep before strategy. Sign it. Post above your desk. When doubt slithers in, the manifesto stands guard. Let's integrate family systems. Jung emphasized ancestral patterns influencing destiny. Sit with elders, record family legends, triumphs, traumas, notice loops, bankruptcy cycles, artistic suppression, migrations. Identify one destructive loop to break, maybe generations avoided risk. You launch a startup, maybe silence surrounded mental illness. You speak openly on podcasts. Breaking lineage chains liberates not only you, but descendants. Wasting your life would also waste theirs. Honor them with courage. Advance to seasonal living, nature cycles, seed, grow, harvest, fallow. Map sprints accordingly. Spring ideation, summer production, autumn launch, winter reflection. This ecological rhythm prevents chronic hustle and honors biological flux. Institute a one-week winter sabbatical. Digital blackout, contemplation, recalibration. In cyclical rest, longevity thrives. Crucial now, data-driven intuition. Measure what matters. Progress metrics, engagement rates, health markers. But let numbers inform, not dictate. Jung fused empiricism with symbolism. Emulate him. If data says your newsletter open rate dipped, don't panic. Consult Dream Journal for messaging misalignment. Harmonize left and right brain for ant waste synergy. We approach the finale, legacy handoff. Identify successors early. Mentor juniors in your guild. Record behind-the-scenes tutorials. Open source portions of your framework. Legacy is less statue, more relay race. Passing torches ensures your fire continues lighting journeys long after you step off stage. Before closing part 2, perform the mirror test. Stand before a mirror, hold eye contact for 60 seconds. Whisper, "Am I honoring my myth today?" Note visceral response, pride, shame, neutrality. Use as daily barometer. Consistent shame signals drift, course correct. Sustained pride signals alignment. Double down. Neutrality demands bolder stakes. Remember, the unconscious rewards momentum. Expect serendipities, chance meetings, viral posts, inexplicable energy surges. Receive them thankfully. Reinvest them wisely. But guard against hubris, as Jung cautioned. How can I be substantial if I fail to cast a shadow? I must have a dark side also if I am to be whole. Keep integrating shadow hygiene. It's maintenance for greatness. Let's seal part 2 with a time capsule promise. Write a postcard to yourself, dated exactly 1 year hence. Describe the North Star project completed, the person you become, the impact witnessed. Mail it to a trusted friend with instructions to deliver on that date. Future, you will read it and either grin with triumph or burn with resolve. Both outcomes defeat stagnation. Close your journal. Stretch. Feel heartbeat. An ancient drum synchronized with the cosmos. You are the artisan of your minutes, the curator of your consciousness, the architect of an existence no algorithm can replicate. Jung handed you the chisel. You've begun sculpting eternity. Part 3 will dive into scaling your impact, public platforms, psychological safety nets at high altitude, and designing rituals that outlive you. But none of that matters if today's insights stay inert. So choose, scroll on, or step up. I know which the future self on that postcard hopes you pick. Legacy is not measured in applause, but in the daily ripples you trigger after the screen goes dark. Imagine Jung standing beside you sketching a mandala. Every circle a life you will touch, every line a decision you make today. Step 1. Publish something small within 24 hours. A post, a prototype, a promise. Momentum, love speed. Step 2. Build a refuge for your psyche. Protect one evening a week for silence. Greatness grows in the gaps. Step 3. Teach what you learn immediately. Articulation forges mastery and multiplies change. Step 4. Ritualize gratitude. Before sleep, name 3 moments when you chose courage over comfort. Neurochemistry will wire that bravery into tomorrow. Finally, remember the opus contra naturam, the work against nature that Jung spoke of, pushing beyond instinctive ease into purposeful strain. When resistance bites, smile. You are crossing a threshold most never approach. Close this video. Look at your hands and declare, "These create futures." Then move. Your myth is no longer a hidden sketch. It is wet clay spinning now. Shape it before it hardens, and watch the mandala widen beyond your lifetime. This is your moment. Waste it, and the world loses untold possibilities forever.